Hey you guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. As you can see, my hair is all over my head. So during this video while I'm talking to y'all, I'm gonna be twisting my hair. So of course, if this is your first time here, welcome. If you've been here before and you haven't subscribed, what's the problem? I'm just trying to understand. But if you have subscribed, I greatly appreciate it. And I thank you for coming back to see what I got going on in my life, or what God has put on my heart to share with you all, or just a wide variety of things. So anyway, welcome back. Don't forget to hit the like button. Please don't forget to share, and definitely notification. So when I do my videos, you will know. So anyway, this video is going to get a little personal. I've been thinking about it for a minute if I should share. I've washed and conditioned my hair and oiled my scalp with peppermint oil. So I normally don't use a comb when I do my hair. I normally just use my fingers and separate it. And then if my hair tends to start to get a little dry while I'm working on the other part, I normally use like spray to detangle it or what have you. So we're gonna do, I normally do the back, but since I'm talking to y'all today, usually I have to hold my head a certain way, I'll do the front first. So anyway, as you seen in the title, I almost went to jail for attempted murder. And the crazy thing is, y'all, so many people don't know this story. So many people don't know that this is a true story, y'all. But God is gracious, and self-discipline is everything. And getting to a place in your life where you recognize being in control of you is more important than anything else. Okay? So I'm just going to start out by just talking to y'all. I had been married before. I got with my kid's father right out of high school. So we had been married for about 9 years. And we decided it just wasn't going to work, for a whole slew of reasons. Young, don't know no better, so on and so forth. Just a lot of things. So we went our separate ways. We'll at some point talk about marriage, number one. But anyway, it ended, and I decided to take time to work on myself. Hear me when I say take time to work on yourself. And not just work on myself mentally and emotionally, but spiritually more than anything. Because you working on yourself spiritually give you a different level of humility for things that's out of your control, And so even to be able to show grace. Even being able to show grace, when you go through your healing, you're able to forgive, you're able to love people, pray for people, so on and so forth. So I had went through my divorce. I don't know. I don't think churches really do celebrate recovery like they used to, but I had became part of Celebrate Recovery, going to church, just living and enjoying my life and learning what it was to now be a single mom of 4 kids. Starting all over. Went from not having a house to sleeping on a friend's couch. And of course, we'll have to have that story another day. But I really decided to just dig in and trust God. So for like a year, I sat still hoping that God would allow our marriage to come back together. That we would be able to work through the things that we both did wrong, that we would be able to forgive each other and, come back together to raise our children. So for like a whole year, I just spent time studying the word, blessing other people in one of the lowest seasons of my life, spending time with my friends and my children, and so on and so forth. So that's just the backstory of how things got so technical. So anyway, I go through and I do my work, do what I need to do to be prepared for if I meet somebody else, because it's not fair to allow yourself to go out here and say you ready, and then you start giving people the business because you're so hurting, you're so broken. So after, about a year, we realized we're not going to get back together. I started dating. Our divorce is final, or almost final at this time, because we're just wrapping up the custody stuff. So at this time, I started dating. I meet a couple of people, what have you, but I eventually meet somebody who said they wanted the same thing as me. Wanted the same life that I wanted. Was ready to truly give of themselves, and understood where I was spiritually, and was working on themselves spiritually. And so I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm not first to tell you, don't come around here playing with me, because I'm not to be played with, because I've done my work, my heart has healed, and I'm gonna love you 100%, because I'm not holding nothing back based off of what I've been through, which is what's wrong with a lot of us. You can't love people because you so concerned about what you gave somebody else that you haven't really healed, so you can genuinely love the next person. But we all saying we ready for our match. I got this brush off of Amazon. It moves with your hair to keep you from pulling your hair out, and it's been great. So with that said, we started dating, and he wanted something serious, and I said, okay, cool. I'm a mother. I'm out here just straight chilling, so I'm not I'm not out here trying to really be doing a whole lot of dating around. I was, but I'm like, if it's somebody that I really click with and he wants to build something, I'm for it. So we started to build something and decided we were going to get married. We had started living together or what have you, and we decided we were going to get married eventually. So we get married, and we're married for a while, maybe a year or longer, maybe. And I'm a person who I trust you until you tell me you can't be trusted. Um, I will give you everything that I have as a person, physically, mentally, emotionally, that I supposed to bring to the relationship. Period. I don't hold anything back when I'm in it, because I feel like you deserve all of me or it's not fair, and I deserve all of you as well. So when I show up to a relationship, I ain't there to do nothing but be the best version of myself with the help of the Lord. So he already understood that my marriage, my last marriage had did its own thing. It had caused a lot of damage. Even the divorce had caused even more. Bring me my watch. It's laying right there on the thing. It had caused even more. So I had explained very thoroughly that I may not be the sanest person to not respect or to play with emotions, because I had already been through a whole lot. I had really been through a whole lot, and my divorce was, oh, that's another story for another day, baby. I'm saying God gave me some stories. You hear me? But he understood. He understood where I had come from and what I had been through. And so I made it very clear. If this ain't what you want, by all means, I accept that and respect it, because nobody should have to be in nothing they don't want or tell somebody something they want to hear just to keep them. It's wrong, it's selfish, it's inconsiderate, and it's hurtful. And so I we coasting on about life, having regular issues like anybody else. And I just started to feel like something wasn't right in my spirit. Something is off. Keep in mind, we had been on the same phone plan, probably by this time about 2 years. Never went through it, never checked anything like that, because I'm like, we cool, we have a good time together. He respect where I've been in life. I've already told him don't play with me. He already said what he want out of life, so we good. Ain't no need to be checking no call logs or nothing to that degree. And so for whatever reason, that just went out the door. Let me respond to my husband real quick. Okay, be careful. So I tell you, this phone, this watch is just as retarded. I ain't saying nothing like no Apple. Okay, be careful. So with that being said, I just started to feel like something went right. Something is off. So I gets up and I go downstairs. We're in the bed. He's knocked out, but I'm like, something don't feel right. And I get up and I go downstairs and I start to look on the phone bill. I'm looking through call log and I'm just like, cause something ain't right. And discernment is real. And God ain't gonna let nobody mistreat his children. I don't care what nobody say. God ain't gonna let nobody mistreat his children. If you're doing the right thing by people, he ain't gonna let people get over on you. Even when they think they're getting over, they not. And so I was just like, let me go down here and check. So I get on the computer. I start going through the call log, and of course, a lot of the numbers I'm not familiar with anyway because I've never been through the call log. I've never been through his phone, so it's not like I can look at it and be like, "Oh, this is his mom, his sister number, so and so." Only number I may have really known that I knew he talked to was his daughter and his mom because I had her number and so on and so forth. But I'm like, this timing is off. So I'm looking and these numbers is from he was working early morning shift. So these numbers was like from 5 in the morning or in the evening time, like 7. I'm like, so it wasn't like just during regular time when me and him would talk. I'll even notice like on some of them where it was like call waiting and it was me calling him. And the phone bill tell you call waiting or incoming, outcoming call, incoming, outcoming text, so on and so forth. So eventually I found out that one of the numbers was his ex-wife. And they had been conversing, and me being me, I called her because I wanted to know, she don't owe me nothing. He the only one I'm married to, but I'm trying to get understanding because he ain't told me nothing. He ain't being honest. Me and her talk, find out it's about some other financial stuff that didn't get tied up, that didn't get solved or what have you, and so on. But even as I continue to dibble and dabble with that, I find out that there's a little bit more to the story. There was still some feelings there, at least from her. I'm not sure from him, but at least from her. So I keep going through the call log, and eventually I find these numbers, and I'm just like, who is these people you talking to on your way to work for like 45 minutes, on your way home? And we didn't really talk on his way home because I would get home and get the kids squared away. Keep in mind, I was mother of 4 children. I worked all day. So when I got home, it was time to cook and help with homework. So I can't sleep. I done looked at this stuff and now I cannot sleep. You hear me? I can't sleep. So I wake him up. It's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, I done called the numbers and female voices or answer machines picking up. So I'm like, this ain't your mama, this ain't your sister, this ain't your homeboy. This some chicks or what have you. And you ain't got no female friends that me and you done talked about. So what's this? So of course he tells me, it ain't nothing, woo woo woo. And I would be sleeping in the morning time. So he ended up, he worked at a plant, with men and women. A lot of that cheating go on in them places in them plants like that. But I never thought anything of it because it's not my place to just assume something just because he's in an environment. Everybody is responsible for themselves. So it's like, one of the numbers, a couple of numbers was from some females at work. He told me he just talked to, so on and so forth. And one of the other numbers was a number that he had got from a chick in the store. It was like, she was talking, we was kind of flirting it up a little bit. Now I'm telling y'all what he told me. Okay. I appreciate his honesty. So he said they was flirting it up a little bit, and it just felt good that she was giving him this attention. I'm like, dude, you act like we've been married for years and you ain't getting no attention and you almost 50. You trying to just make sure you still got it. This is new. This supposed to be honeymoon phase. But a lot of times when people don't really want what you want, but they know you good, they do what it takes to get you and try to keep you while all at the same time not really where you at mentally or emotionally. So even spiritually. So at this point, I'm like, oh, he think I'm a game. So when we end up having a conversation about it, later on, after that, it was he treated it as if it was nothing. He talked about it as if it was nothing. And I think that angered me more. Because it's one thing to offend me after I've explained my hurt and my this and my that. And there's another thing to truly take serious and be sympathetic, empathetic, whichever word, however you want to use it. But to be so nonchalant as if I am overreacting or it's no big deal and so on and so forth, and to be and gave you my whole heart after going through what I went through, it did something in me. It truly did. And we had a conversation and I was so angry. When I tell y'all, I was so angry. And I think I was so angry because it's hard to love again when you have given your all to somebody else. It's hard to truly get to a place where you say, you know what? I'm going to give my all. I'm not going to withhold nothing based on my past. And when you get there, it's such a good feeling because if God send the right one, you won't shortchange him and you will allow him to love you, So I'm like, hey, I want to be that person. When God sent me my person, since me and my first husband didn't work out, I want to be able to get everything this man has for me. And I want to be able to give him all of me. So it stirred an anger. And, the Bible tell you, even in your anger, don't sin. And, to God, the vengeance belongs to the Lord. All of that stuff. I know all that stuff. But that day I wasn't checking for that. So I called my friend. I won't say her name. One of my friends. I called her. And I say, I need you to get my kids. I felt the rage that I've never felt in my life. I said, I need you to get my children. And she was like, what? I said, I need to bring you my kids. She said, okay. Okay, that's fine. But give me a minute. I ain't got home yet. So I'm like, okay. So it's just the sarcasm and the pride that he was just showcasing was just angering me. So, a little time go by, hour or so go by, she still ain't called me back yet. Tell me she made it home. So, I tell her, I call her back. I said, I don't know where you at, but you need to get home. I said, you need to get home because I'm finna drop these kids off. See, my mind, y'all, I already knew it was about to go down. I already knew. Hey, I'm a Christian now. I love God and I'm very good to people. But a long time ago, I passed the first lick. And you ain't gonna mistreat me without me letting you know what's up. I ain't gonna start nothing with nobody. I ain't gonna pick with nobody and I ain't gonna mistreat nobody. But you definitely ain't gonna mistreat me and not get away with it. I stayed getting suspended for fighting in middle and high school. But to me, it was just a thing of I will be respected one way or the other. So I was never the person to start anything, but I'll finish it. And I thank God for change, and I thank God I'm not who I used to be because people will take you to a place just because they know they can, So anyway, she said, okay, I'm pulling up at home now. Put my kids in the car. Take my kids to her house. And I come back home and we talking. And he got a smirk on his face. A smirk. I'm hurting. I'm disappointed. I feel stupid. I feel used. Because keep in mind, I had my stuff together. You know what I'm saying? I was dating multiple people, could have just stayed out here doing my own thing, you know. I'm like, I feel used. I feel like you loved who I was as a woman and what I benefited you. And you didn't care so much about having to totally be up the part 100% to do your part, you know. And I cooked dinner every day, you know. He had a daughter, so when I shop for my kids, I shop for her. She called me mom, I call her daughter. You know, to this day, she's still, because I still consider her one of my kids. And so I hadn't given myself to not only him, but even his child, you know. And you standing here smirking in this conversation. You standing here smirking like I'm playing. So what I nicely, politely do, so I walk in the kitchen and I grab the biggest knife in my kitchen. When I tell you, if you know what them knife sets that look like they used to sit on the counter and they go from big to small, and they be in that little wood little block, I grab the biggest knife in there. Because at this point, while you smiling and not being apologetic or even recognizing my hurt, you playing with me. And you think it's not serious because I didn't catch you in somebody's sheets. Or I didn't catch some chick in the car with you. But I've caught your disloyalty. Not only have I caught your disloyalty, I caught your dishonesty. And now I feel like more like a fool than anything because, like I said, I'm giving myself to you as if I've never been hurt before. And in exchange, this is what you do to me. So we standing in my dining room area. If you walk out my front door, it was a wall right next to it, and on the other side of that wall was the kitchen, and the dining room table sat right there in that area. So we're standing right there, and he's smirking, and I can't tell you what happened. All I know is I went for his heart. That's all I know with that knife. I went for his heart, and if he wouldn't have had the reflexes he had, I'd probably be in prison right now. I would probably be in prison right now for attempted murder or murder because I was so angry. So when he catches my arm and keeps me, like literally, the knife was like right here. I promise y'all, it was right here. If he wouldn't have had the reflexes he had, he probably been dead. And I was so angry, I don't even know if I would have took the time to call the police, if I would have just sat there for a moment and just been like, because you know how some stuff just don't click in your head at that moment that, man, I need to call help, because you're so angry and you just like a whole slew of emotions. So when he caught my hand to keep me from stabbing him, I then grabbed him. He was bigger than me. He had always worked out. He was stronger than me. I ain't never worked out. I ain't had no time for that. I had children and all that stuff to handle. And he was stronger than me, built. Y'all, I don't know where the strength came from, but I took his whole body and put it up in that wall that I was telling y'all about. The wall you can walk out of to go to the door, or the wall you can walk on the other side of and go to the kitchen. I put his whole body in that wall. It was almost like you lay down in the sand and you put your body in there and somebody bury you, and if they pull you out, it keeps its shape. It was that. It was that. And it was bad because the anger that I allowed to consume me in that moment was scary. Like, after it all happened, he left the house, went to his mom's house because he was scared for his life, righteously so, rightfully so. He left the house, went to his mom, And I sat at my computer and I cried, but in crying, I almost feel like I had a mental breakdown in that moment because everything became so cloudy. Everything became so hard to make sense of. It was like my mind was mentally jumbled, or mentally my mind was just all over the place. Like I couldn't put simple things together in that time. And I further understand now why they say things drive people to insanity. People go through some things in life that leads them to being crazy, mentally broken, panic attacks, all of this stuff, because your mental take a beating when things happen in life. And after that night, I realized I was forgetful. It was just something mentally off for me. And I just didn't feel, and I realized that I had allowed so much anger to consume me. And I guess that's why they say anger and all of these things, it's like a disease to the body. Anger, hate, that stuff is a disease because it messes with you physically, mentally, emotionally. And for the next week or so, I managed in life, and I ain't want to kill myself or no kind of craziness like that. But I could just feel that I was not mentally aligned and maybe needed to reset, maybe kind of like meditation, take some time out with God and truly lay at his feet type stuff that I needed to do. And so even him, it was mentally disturbing for him because I remember after that, we talked about it. We tried to make it work. And if I walked into the room, he would jump up if he was asleep. Like it was almost like he was sleeping in an alert manner. Like his body never went into a full rest because he was scared of what I might do to him, you know. Rightfully so, but honestly, I never had a thought of doing anything to him after that. Because I think in that moment, after that moment, I took the time to say, why would you give somebody so much power that you would possibly allow them to put you in a position that take you away from your children, that creates a mental block from you, that sets you into a rampant of insanity, and to lose yourself in the process? Nobody deserves to have that much power over me, over you, over anybody. People lie, people hurt, people scheme, people use, but as the Bible say, bless those who spitefully use you. And so I had to stand on the word, and so that I won't become this angry person who like, here I am, I loved you, blah, 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 and this, that, and the other, because I had to give it to God and forgive. But I learned in that moment to never give anybody that much power over me. To never put myself in a position where I will allow somebody to take me to a place where I will be separated from my children. And I thank God that he was graceful enough that I didn't kill him. He did give him quick enough reflexes, and I was able to move forward in life not feeling like I hated him. He hurt me and it hurt deep because all I wanted to do was be loved after feeling like me and my first husband got it wrong. Not necessarily because we were bad people, but because we just didn't know. You often try to do things that you've seen and it's wrong, So these people who you see mom and daddy be married, or uncle and aunt and all this stuff, and you think it's going to work in your life, that don't always be the case, And so you bring all this toxicity and create this thing, and then you wondering why you can't get nothing right because you're trying to do it everybody else's way and ain't stop to check for God's way, And so after going through my first divorce, I just wanted somebody to just love me, be honest, and want to do it the right way. Put away everything we thought was right and seek out how to do it the right way together. And so, I share this with y'all as a way of saying God is so good and so graceful, because this could have been another way. I could be talking to y'all from jail right now. They got cell phones and Facebook and everything in jail now. So I could have been right here telling you about my story. And that show Snap is real. People really be broken and hurt. But to give somebody that much power, y'all, to take your whole life away from you. Because if God wouldn't allow that to not go, if God would have let that thing go all the way, it would have changed my life forever. Yeah, I probably could have went there and tried to plead some insanity, and I was just, drop my kids off because I wanted to talk, and I didn't want to argue in front of the kids and letting them know what he had done, because I don't believe in bashing or throwing no man, your husband, up under the bus in front of your children. Because when you do that, you telling them to not have respect for him, because especially step parents or bonus parents, because kids, when they receive people, I think a lot of times they receive them because they want them to love their mama or their daddy, and they want them to love them. And when you know that this person is hurting the person that you love, sometimes it can cause resentment. So I could have argued that I dropped my kids off at my friends because we really need to talk about this. And I found out this and I just snapped. And probably could have got off on that sanity, maybe, but could have probably got 5 years as an example and missed 5 years of my children's life. So I just want to say, don't give nobody that much power over you. Lay your anger at God's feet. And if you're holding on to unforgiveness that causes you to resent a person, you hurting yourself. You really hurting yourself. And if you honestly want, maybe you've been blessed with a new person and you can't really love them because the walls and the heartbreak and the unforgiveness and the fear, the fear of just being mistreated all over again. When you've loved hard and not perfect, but you've loved hard and did the best you know to do. And fear sets in to never give a person all of you again. So if you living in that position, I pray that God give you the strength to lay that at his feet. That you won't miss the good things of God. And it may not be a relationship with a relationship, but it may be even in friendship. Sometimes you being got burned and God send you somebody to be your friend and you don't trust them because the last friend didn't pay you your money back and you and the last friend had it out and blah, 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 blah. So it don't just go for relationships like that. It goes for friendships too. So, I thank God that he was graceful enough that my life didn't turn upside down in that one moment. And eventually me and my second husband, we did divorce. It was a lot of damage and we tried to work through it, but it's so hard to work through things when a person don't understand the depth of the hurt and the level of accountability that comes with healing and working and moving forward. And later on we was able to talk about it and I asked him, why and what he could have done differently. And he just said, I just wasn't where I needed to be with God spiritually. I was too worried about impressing other people that I forgot about making you and the kids my priority, and it was one of the worst mistakes he ever made. And he was sorry that he didn't try to come back and make it work because he knew it was his fault, but he just did so much damage. He just thought it would be better to go on about his business and so on and so forth. But we was able to have an honest conversation with each other at some point to just clear the air, for him to know I didn't hate him, for him to recognize that he finally understood how he hurt me and how he even hurt me in the first place. And the main thing was him not being spiritually accountable to God or me. So often we get in relationships and don't think we have to answer to anybody because we grown. But accountability keeps you from doing things that you can't go back and change, And so I pray that this blesses somebody. I pray that if you've seen the hand of God in your life where that one decision you made could have changed your whole life, that he showed up just in the nick of time to save you from you. Because at the end of the day, my husband did what he did, but God was saving me from me because my anger was controlling me. Not necessarily what he did was controlling me. It was my anger in that moment, my hurt that was controlling me. So I pray that if you have found yourself in any situation where you have truly seen the hand of God spare you, that you would share your testimony, that you would glorify him for being so faithful and loving you, even in your sinful foolishness, and that he will heal you beyond your imagination to be able to be 100% available, not only to people, but to God. Because sometimes when you go through things in life, that wall comes up between you and him too. And it's like, God, I tried to do the right thing. How can I trust you? You let this man hurt me. You da-da-da-da-da-da. And you go down this spiral of doubt and fear and questioning. And everything happens for a reason. I enjoy his company. I thank God for the relationship we got to have because I gained a daughter, and I learned something about myself in the process. The importance of always recognizing that the anger exists so that I can take it before God. Because if you don't recognize it's there, that's when it gets out of control. Because it's just breeding, it's just growing and manifesting. So as I finish my hair, y'all, as y'all have gotten to see me do this little process that takes me forever, I pray that you were blessed. I pray that God does amazing things in 2022 as you heal and recognize how faithful he has been. Even in when we're so undeserving. We're so undeserving, but he's always on time. And so I just pray that this video finds you well. And I pray that if it doesn't find you well, that it will help heal you. And so I love y'all. And I thank God for y'all. And continue to pray for me as I pray for y'all. Don't forget to comment down below just the dialogue, or even if you have something you want to share, because people that's listening, people is reading, and more so than ever before, people want to know that other people understand, and so my channel called Keeping It Real with Marquita, because I can only tell you what I've been through and what God has done and showed me, in the grace that I've seen from him with me, my children, my husband, just the things I've seen him do. And so you can't keep it real if you can't tell your story, So y'all, this is just one of many, but I pray it blessed y'all tremendously. As I get off of here and try to finish my hair, we'll have to catch up on another topic that maybe the first marriage, we'll talk about that at some point to kind of give you an understanding of how we got there. Because a lot of times when people get divorced, we always think it's just all this bad stuff, but sometimes it's just life because we don't deal with some things. So y'all see that? Look at that. Okay, girl, get in there. So y'all have a good night. Be blessed. Be grateful. Be strong. But more so than anything, be forgiven. So you don't walk around